Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I have the first two cards in our 5 card spread? Ooh, King of Swords in its reversal in combination with the Empress in its reversal. Oh, okay, let's It's crank. Retrograde season just got everybody cranky. Just got everybody cranky in their little feely feels. Is everybody in their little feely feels today? It's something in Cancer. What happened? What's going on? No, it's close enough. We got Mercury and Mars. Yeah, it's close. We got Mercury and Mars in Scorpio. We got Jupiter in Cancer. We've got a bunch of all the planets in Aries are retrograding. Everybody is feeling irritable right now. Okay. And I'm going to describe this. This is coming out of a full moon in Aries. That was a really intense moon. I got to stress this. I know a lot of individuals that were exhausted prior to that full moon coming through. Like, absolutely, like, it's a lot of intensity, right? Because, and I need to describe this, like the thing with Aries energy is it can often be Aries energy is often the energy of a burst, right? It's like a lot of that like propulsion point. And so, I find it really interesting that this particular energy that we're experiencing right now, that's what I remember when I said this can be a very grounding full moon if you're working through it appropriately, because the thing about it is there's a lot to be there's a lot to be learned between Libra and Aries, right? There's a lot of that work in terms of energetically balancing. And the thing about it is, and I like to describe this, Libra energy is all about proportion, right? It's all about finding that healthy balance to things, okay? Aries, come here, okay? Like, and that's the thing, and this is often what happens with Libra energy, which is Libra energy working through the space of balance, and often we describe this with Libra energy, understanding that, and this is the irony that often Libras have to go through in their own experience. The more you try to balance things, often the more unstable they become, right? Because sometimes it's like the space by which you understand that balancing isn't about the same. It's about finding the proportions upon things. Aries often have a lot of that, often work through pushing things through, having a lot of that determined approach. There's a lot of that energetic burst. So, a lot of the work that we're doing right now in relationality to the work of this eclipse cycle talks to us about understanding, right? Like the space, and this is what's beautiful, and this is why I was describing it a bit like syncopation energy, because when we find ourselves in an energetic modality, right? Like when we move into the space of being within a particular modality, it sometimes becomes the space by which we often feel the energetic hurdle, because it's our I keep on hearing, because it's our first, because it's our first it's our first reactivity point, right? And so what's nice about this is it's an energy that helps us understand proportionality. It helps us understand striking a healthy balance. And the thing about that is, often, I keep on hearing, often when you're trying to strike a healthy balance, it requires one to push out of one's own comfort zone, right? And that's going to feel a little bit more, I want to describe this as that's going to feel a little bit more energetically interesting now, given the fact that the moon is in Taurus, because a lot of the work that we're effectively seeing is working through, I keep on hearing, working through the feeling of energetic frustration that then allows one to be able to fortify and identify what one is working on in a better fashion. Now, this is when I say that this is some of the most complicated, these are some of the most complicated readings I've had to do with this energy. I'm not surprised because we're seeing the fact that there's a lot of the energy right now that is going through moon lessons. And the thing about moon lessons has to do with the observation of how we are able to effectively navigate the space of our own nuance. Now, the reason I'm saying that this is complicated energy is because and it's funny too, because it just shows you that it's a space by which we understand something, even in the space by which we're reading into it. I was describing, like silly me, I was describing the three different I'm sitting here like I'm sitting here and I'm describing the fact that I see three different tiers for energy and separation. And I'm like, silly, three different tiers. We're going through moon lessons. There's three different phases. There are three different phases that are effectively happening right now in those moon relationships, right? Because we see for the energy and separation right now, there's a lot of complexity. Now, I'm going to kind of walk you guys through, and it's having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. Now, for masculine energy that is in separation, and I keep on seeing, especially with this King of Swords energy, and I want to say that there's a lot of similarity that we're seeing right now between the King of Swords in its reversal and the Empress in its reversal. And I need to describe, even though we see these cards in their reversal, it's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? But it talks a lot about working through the context of our own vulnerability. So what are we effectively seeing that's happening right now? For masculine and feminine, this is actually articulating that there's a lot of alignment here. We see that there's a lot of alignment that's occurring, but it's working through how vulnerable this energy makes us feel. Now, for the masculine energy, we're effectively identifying that this is, I keep on hearing like this is the identification point of being able to navigate and articulate upon. I keep on getting that there's a lot of the masculine energy right now that is working through inner child healing. And the thing about the inner child healing that the masculine energy is going through is working through, I keep on hearing, working through the observation of the difference. I keep on hearing of the difference between, I keep on seeing being like having control of our emotions versus being controlled by our emotions. And the thing about it that's really interesting about that I keep on seeing for masculine is I keep on hearing it's the space of authenticity, because and I keep on hearing it's like there's almost like a conversation that is effectively occurring in relationality to strength, because the strength, and I keep on hearing it's working through the fact that it's resolving through the misunderstanding of stoicism. Stoicism isn't becoming stone. It's not the space by which you stop yourself from feeling. And here's the thing about it. This is like wild. When you stop yourself from feeling, you're basically being controlled by your emotions. It's working through the observation that when we aren't able to experience something without it overrunning us, then we're effectively afraid of it, right? So that's like the masculine energy, understanding that the act of disassociating away from emotions is actually a fear response, right? It's the space by which one flees from one's own emotionality. And so that's why we're effectively identifying that for a lot of the masculine, that ability, like working through, and I keep on hearing the space by which they're embracing the emotions, but not feeling the inclination of just having to do something about them. This is more of the masculine energy that's continuing to work through the difference between, again, we keep on talking about this, the difference between disassociation and the ability of being able to be in the presence of one's emotions, right? It's the difference between, it's not the space by which one disassociates from the emotions. It's the observation of being able to feel them and then still feel steadfast in relationality to understanding, right? Understanding the direction that one is headed towards. And so for a lot of the masculine energy, I feel like there is this vulnerability that's happening there, because a lot of the masculine energy is working through, I keep on hearing like they're working through that observation, right? It's the space of allowing. I keep on hearing the emotions want to teach us things if we're energetically listening. But when we are activating upon them, like when we're energetically reactive upon them, then we can't learn anything from them, right? It's the difference between it's a difference between, as we said, it's a difference between dispassion. And often I keep on hearing when someone will be, this is why somebody will be the most dispassionate person possible in the space by which they'll look at you and blink and be like, I was honoring my emotions. That's not honoring emotions, right? That's being led by the emotions. We need to be patient with our emotions. We need to speak to them. We need to address them, because when we speak to our emotions and we address them, then we hold our emotions with honor. Now, for the feminine, I see that the feminine is still doing that work. And a lot of the work that we see that the feminine is doing, a lot of the work that we see that the feminine is doing has to do with the modality and with the experience of working through being able to, I keep on hearing healing from the space by which they have to, I keep on hearing healing from the space by which they feel that they are energetically disappointing others, right? Like the observation of the feminine coming into the space of being able to navigate and identify and work through. I keep on hearing like the space by which one is feeling energetically fortified upon the self. I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that energetic activation there, and it's not easy. Right? It's not easy for the feminine that works through that, because it's often, and this is often talking about and this is why we have to honor the different journeys between masculine and feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Because this is, again, the feminine understanding and working through the path work, that when the feminine is working effectively, they're disappointing others in the right way possible. Right? The arrival point of the feminine, not allowing the feeling of others' disappointment to confound them, but rather to inform them in relationality to those that energetically appreciate, right? Building into that space, or finding that energetic center. I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy doing that work, that observation of doing so, it's fortifying, it's amplifying, but it's also very difficult, because it's almost like the feminine energy working through the emotions. But even in the space by which they're working through the emotions, they're nurturing. And this is what's beautiful about it. These are the feminine that are learning to nurture the emotions, right? They're learning and allowing the space by which, and again, what do we do when we nurture the emotions? We don't give the emotions to someone else and say, here, you handle them. We talk to the emotions and we identify what they need so that we can communicate effectively. So all of this is happening in the context of the energy that we find ourselves in right now. And again, we've got Mercury and Mars in Scorpio. So it requires a lot of that contemplation and a lot of that energetic reflection. Center card for today's spread, we have here the Page of Wands in its reversal. So let's talk a little bit about the Page of Wands in its reversal right now. So the thing with the Page of Wands in its reversal that we effectively see has to do, I keep on saying the space by which it has to do with the observation and recognition of, and I told you, this is all inner child healing right now. And that's what's so hard about it too, because a lot of that inner child healing that we're effectively identifying right now is, I keep on seeing it's a continuation of working through And that's also the problem with like Neptune and Saturn both moving back into Pisces. And it's actually Neptune does well in Pisces. Saturn, it's a little bit more difficult when Saturn's in Pisces. But the thing that we have to understand is that, and it's going to be a continuation of the conversation that we've been having about the fact that trauma builds trigger in weird places, right? So the way that we heal isn't just about, it's the misconception that healing is removing all triggers. That is nonsense, right? Because it's the observation that standards frame the context of the self, right? We're supposed to have triggers where our standards are. That's the identification point of the self. So the ability, right? This is what we talk about in relationality to doing the work of contemplating. It's going through the introspection point and being able to analyze and understand what is the trigger that we hold that is energetically healthy, right? Feeling energetically triggered for good reason. The ability to understand and identify that there's something that the trigger is holding that is energetically important. You know? versus the triggers that pop up in weird places based upon trauma, right? And that's a problem. When we don't heal those, we hurt others with them, right? Because that's when things get weird. Being like, what was that? What was that? And that's often, and we don't know where those exist in each other. And this is why it's so important. This is why I don't like the word shadow work, because I know we say shadow work and it's like, woo, but it sounds spooky, but it's not spooky. It's literally the analysis point of recognizing and identifying where your triggers are and making sure that you feel secure in terms of being like, yeah, that's a good place for it. That's a good place. That's a logical place to put that trigger. Yes, I approve of that trigger. Yes, that's a very good trigger, right? It's a lot of that type of work. No, that one's weird. No, that I know why that one's weird. I know why that one's there, right? And so this is the work that we do. It's not easy, but this is also why you have to understand when I talk about the fact that I see 3 different phases right now for the energy and separation. Woohoo! Welcome to me having to read on moon lessons. So the reason that we're effectively seeing this right now is, and like I said, this is why. Remember when I said when we're going through new moon relationships, it is incredibly complicated because and we're going to be talking about this in the moon class that we've got coming up. It's navigating the space of nuance. It's navigating the space of nuance. So we've got 3 different phases, and I'm going to describe this. We got 3 different phases that look very different on the outside, but they're all doing the same work on the inside, right? The energy that is in separation, that's coming into restoration. I told you, what do those true apologies look like? They're not even apologies. They're the articulation of saying to another. There's catharsis in another saying, I've changed. The observation, the recognition in relationality to how far one has changed, how much one has progressed. I keep on hearing these are apologies that feel like gifts because they're being given purely for the sake of catharsis to effectively help another person heal. But it's not easy. So I keep on hearing, that's why I keep on hearing with a lot of the energy going through that, you've given me a lot to think about because there's a lot of that. I keep on hearing there's a lot of that contemplation because something that they're receiving feels like it's something that is energetically restorative to the self. At the same time, I see energy coming into sealed separation because it's the absolute opposite of that. Potentially energy and separation, something from this retrograde bringing someone back from the past, right? But not in the space by which they're ready to talk about the transformation. Potentially even separations that occur due to a disparity of manifestation goals. And someone saying, are you done with those pesky feelings yet? Right? Somebody else recognizing another person, not wanting to work through something, but almost trying to gloss over it, right? Almost like kind of trying to work through something in relationality to something having not occurred. And it's that observation, right? Like I keep on hearing like that observation of recognizing or identifying something like that is reaffirming to the energy that they're moving in the right direction, right? I keep on hearing it's hard, it's painful to see, but it's also energetically reaffirming. Now, this brings us to the energy that's building into new relationship. And that's what I mean in terms of the trepidation. These side-eye partners, like these side-eye relationships that are occurring right now, because the thing with it is I keep on seeing, like I told you, they're moon relationships. They're bringing to each other the gift of healthy cynicism, which is the space by which they're hearing. And I think this is the funniest thing about it. There's some energy right now that they're perfect for one another, but they're navigating each other with a healthy sense of cynicism, which means they're holding hope. They're holding hope for what can happen, but they're not letting that hope distort what they're energetically seeing. So there's a lot of this like, yeah, right type of energy that is happening. There's a lot of this like, yeah, right energy that's happening in some of these partnerships because they're sussing each other out. They're like literally like they're finding their soulmate and they're like, seems sus. Seems sus. Seems, because it's all the Scorpio energy. Seems a little suspicious. Seems a little too like it's a lot of that type of energy that we're seeing there. But I keep on seeing, but that's why they're building into the space of talking to each other more about the past, because I told you it's like you seem perfect, seems sus. So continuing to get clarification in for the moving into the temperance relationships. And again, the temperance relationships are the relationships that were coming together between the Uranus stationing retrograde up until the time of the solstice. Fourth and fifth cards in our 5-card spread. The Emperor card. Oh my God, these cards, man. You guys are giving me a headache with these cards. Jeez Louise. Okay, it's so complicated. Okay, it's just because it's usually, because it's a moon lessons. Okay, fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. And this is the continuation of the fact that the reason I'm talking, like the energy, the temperance relationships right now are working through the frustration in terms of understanding, and this is what I think is wild right now. The energy deep within divine union was working through they were working through Saturn lessons. The energy right now that is coming into union is working through Neptune lessons. And this is why I keep on seeing it. I'm going to kind of walk you through what I'm seeing here. This is energy, and I keep on hearing, they did not lie to one another, they elided. The difference between a lie and an eliding is a lie is something that you don't tell someone something because you don't want them to know. They elided to something. Why did they elide to something? Because they were getting to know one another and they went through some deep trauma and they didn't want to distort the perception of being seen via something that happened to them. So I keep on hearing, and did you see how soon as I started reading for this? You're right? There was a space by which they didn't want to talk about it. They'd already healed from it. It's back there. Is what I keep on saying. It's in the past. They didn't want to bring it up. But now they're in the space that they're getting to know one another and they're opening up more and they're articulating to each other more. They feel, and I keep on hearing, they feel like it's their energetic obligation to share more of that hurt with one another. But I keep on seeing this is what's so difficult, because it's the energy saying, see why I didn't tell you? Like, it's like the energy going, see why I didn't tell you? It's a lot to carry. It's heavy. I told you they're temperance relationships. They're very strong. And they're basically giving something to another person saying, it's not that I didn't want to tell you. I know it's a heavy weight to bear. So that space by which they're conveying each other the trauma that they experience, and they're feeling the weight of that. And now I see the fact that they're going through the work of navigating something that is based upon a Neptune lesson, which is potentially feeling a lot of feelings in the present for something that is in the past, something that has already occurred. And this is why the energy is like working through the processing of an energetic expansion point, because they're understanding and they're carrying the weight of a lot of feelings for something that they can't change. And further understanding that if they tried to do something about something from the past, they would make the past the present again. It's just bring the past back to the present. So that's why we see that for a lot of those relationships, it's like working through that, and it's the energy going, like I keep on hearing, it's like They're feeling like I told you it's a solar plexus opening. So it's adding gravitas, but it's also energetically fortifying. Now, this brings us to the energy that is deep within divine union. For the purposes of our readings, we always read on the most recent energy that moved deep into divine union. And for our purposes, those were the magician relationships that were coming together between the time of the solstice up until the time of Mercury and Venus stationing direct behind Neptune, which was happening around March. Clarification between King of Swords and Empress in its reversal. Yep. Man, ooh, four of cups. 4 of Cups in its reversal. You know, I gotta say something about these energies deep within divine union. They don't care in the best way possible. Why am I keep on hearing this energy saying we don't care? Like they're saying we don't care in the best way possible, because, and I keep on seeing this. They're working on, and the reason I keep on seeing they're working on, I told you they're going through an auric cleansing, and I keep on hearing the reason they're going through an auric cleansing is because they keep on repeating to each other the statement, healthy energy wants to see us steadfast. Healthy energy wants to see us steadfast, right? So if I keep on hearing these are relationships, they've been in relationship before, but they've never centered in a relationship like this one. And when we center in relationship because we feel like that point of celebration and energy starts acting profoundly weird as a result of it, then I keep on saying it's devastating, but it doesn't change our course of direction. It doesn't affect our energetic direction sense. It fortifies it, is what I keep on seeing. So that's why I keep on seeing that those energies were going through Saturn's lessons, potentially understanding profoundly what they're energetically seeing outside of partnership, knowing that they cannot touch it because touching it would effectively damage it further. But also, they are recalibrating. They are recalibrating upon their perception or experience of the past based upon what they're seeing now. It's painful. I keep on hearing it's painful. It's upsetting. It's devastating. It may even be creating a lot of anger for them because it's reframing. I keep on hearing it's reframing relationship outside of partnership. It's a lot of what was that kind of energy, right? And I keep on hearing what was that was not what was that. It's not the what was that in the present. It's the what was that they're having in the present that's making them look at everything in the past in a different way. And everything I keep on seeing there, it's like, and that's why I keep on hearing they don't care. They don't care in the best way possible because they're saying they keep on saying to each other, they're working on the space by which they're saying to each other, healthy energy wants to see us steadfast. Continuing to get clarification between our Empress card in its reversal and our Page of Wands in its reversal. Do you see how fast this card flew out? We got the High Priestess here. Now, the thing with the High Priestess, energy, I got to describe this, man. High Priestess and the Empress card in its reversal in combination here is the way I like to describe it is the best way I can describe it effectively is it's working through, and I keep on seeing there's something important to be identified or articulated in the space of energetic patience is what I keep on seeing. Because, and I keep on identifying that that's effectively what we see is occurring here. For energy that is, and this makes a lot of sense too, given the fact that we see that there are a lot of that work that we're doing right now in terms of moon lessons. So I need to describe this because it's a continuation force. It's a continuation of the difference between, I keep on saying, the difference between working through the emotionality of the self that can sometimes feel propulsive, right? It's feeling the emotionality of something that feels propulsive, but then being able to articulate upon one's own I want to say propulsivity. Is that a word? I need to look that up. Propulsiveness or one's own effective, like one's own ability to effectively like push forward, right? Because I keep on seeing, and I feel like there's something important about that, because it has to do, I keep on saying it has to do with path work of energetic consistency, right? And I keep on seeing that, when we are, I keep on hearing, when we are constant in our manifestations, we build into the space of being energetically, and I keep on hearing energetically reliable in terms of trusting ourselves in relationality to what it is that we're trying to do, or how it is that we're trying to do something. And I keep on seeing that there's something really important that this work is kind of doing right now, because I keep on seeing, and that's what I mean. That's why I said I like a Libra energy, like I like an Aries full moon in Libra energy. And this is why also this full moon may have had a different impact depending on how, what you're working through. Because I keep on seeing that when you're trying to find balance and you're feeling a lot of emotionality, right? You find steadiness, right? Like you articulate, or you build into pathwork of energetic precision, right? You work through something in a way that you try to be energetically precise. And that's why I was even articulating. Remember when I kept on saying over and over and over and over and over and over and over again during the retrograde, please, please, please don't assume anything during retrograde seasons. Because when we assume things during retrograde seasons, we sometimes we're too much within, right? The ego, I keep wondering, the ego wants to assume things. The higher self inquires. The higher self investigates. And so I feel like that there's something really kind of beautiful here that we're seeing in relationality to that work, because it's and I keep on seeing it's feeling fortified on what we feel. It's feeling fortified on what we feel energetically constant about, right? And so there's something important about that. There's something important in relationality to being able to articulate and speak towards it. So everything I keep on seeing that's happening there is, and we're going to kind of get back to the energy and separation. There's a lot, I keep on hearing, there's a lot of precision that's happening right now for the energy and separation. Now, for those energies that are working through healthy, I keep on hearing healthy resolution is what I keep on giving. The healthy resolution that is not necessarily given, the gift of an apology given to someone, not because it's the implication that it's going to change something, but rather the observation of another having been changed, giving it to another as a gift, saying, I needed you to hear this. I needed you to know. I almost feel like this is beautiful, because I almost feel like there's something incredible that's happening in some of those restoration pockets of someone saying, I need you to know that all that pain, like something positive came from it. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of energy that I almost see there. Like it's the space by which another person is saying, like it's under, like it's the under, like I keep on hearing the energy. It's the apology of someone saying, I understand now. And that I keep on hearing, it's profound and it's beautiful. It's very cathartic. I keep on hearing it's the sound of deep friendships that are forming. Simultaneously, that's what I mean about the sealed closures, or the sealed separations, because if these are situations or circumstances where another person was being patient, right? They were working towards their manifestation goals, but they were holding hope in relationality to another person going through that process of energetic transformation, the retrograde bringing something back. And again, the space by which another person isn't talking towards the fact that they've changed, but rather saying, hey, do you still have those emotions? Are your emotions still going to get in the way of something? And the observation that when someone says, are your emotions going to get in the way of something, is the sound of someone who does not hold the same standards as we do. I keep on seeing that this is the energy saying I was not, again, navigating where the healthy triggers is, right? The healthy triggers that are near a standard, and saying that's not emotionality that you're seeing there. That is fundamentality, right? And that observation, I keep on hearing it's frustrating, but it's healing because it's energy feeling reaffirmed in relationality to the direction that they're moving towards. These new relationships, these new relationships. Where were you on the night of blah, blah, blah? I'm telling you right now, it's because of all the Scorpio energy. It's because of all it's literally, I'm telling, and I'm sorry, I cannot stop laughing. I can't stop laughing about these new relationships because I keep on seeing like they have the same manifestation goals as me. Seems suspicious. It seems I've got this energy. I can't with these new relationships. I can't with these new relationships because it's because of all the Scorpio energy we've got right now with Mercury and Mars, which is being like, yes, yes. Tell me more about how you want everything that I want. Tell me where you were on the night of like, it's a lot of that energy that is like going, like it's going backwards because it's the energy that like it's the energy that, and then this is the funny thing about it, like they're moving towards their manifestation goals, but the space by what, but I need to point out, they've been hurt before by someone that energetically articulated that they wanted something, but was not in the space of being able to embody it. Right? The difference, like working through the painful circumstances of someone that says yes, 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 but then the way that they move doesn't give the inclination in relationality to the direction, right? Again. And so for a lot of these relationships, they're going through each other's history. They're learning more about each other to see if what they see in the past is in accordance with what another person is articulating that they want in the present. This is a very, I'm sorry, these readings right now are they're very intense because there's just so many phases because they're moon lessons, you know? Now, and they're all different. So getting further clarity right now into those temperance relationships. Clarification between the Emperor card and the Page of Swords. Boom, we've got here the 10 of Swords. This is what I mean. I keep on hearing, and I keep on, like, the thing about it, and for these relationships, I told you, they're going through Neptune's lessons, which is, I keep on seeing, it's like, I keep on hearing, like, for these relationships, they did not go into detail upon something that hurt them because they didn't want to energetically burden the counterpart with it. Because they knew, I keep on seeing, it's the energy saying that's like, it's the energy that's saying that's my trauma to carry, right? It's like the energy that I keep on seeing. It's like they didn't want to feel like they'd already put it in the past. And I see this energy that's doing that work to give that to counterpart, but almost even in the space saying, I know it's a lot, it's heavy. It's the space by which they're even saying to each other, I didn't go into detail about it, not because I didn't want you to know, but because it's heavy. Right? And it's like having to work through that heaviness. This is the energy that is like, I keep on seeing, like they're doing the work. And this is the hard part about it. I told you it's not, and this is the hard part about, and I need to kind of build into it more because there's a certain, like, there's something I need to explain. And I keep on hearing it has something to do between the heart and the solar plexus energy, which is the space by which another person is expanding upon it. Because it's the space by which it's I keep on hearing, it's the feeling of emotionality for something that already happened. It's working through the volatility of it. And not just working, I keep wondering, not just working through the volatility of it, but also feeling the sense of, again, much like I keep on hearing, you can't touch Saturn's lessons because sometimes if you try to, and this is what's wild about this, if you try to affect something now in the present, it doesn't allow for it to resolve in the future. They're working through Neptune lessons, which is the space by which they're working not to touch something that they feel emotions about from the past, for the anxiety of bringing it back to the present is what I keep on seeing. So for a lot of these relationships right now, it's like I keep on hearing, it's like I feel like it's like the energy, like it's building the resolve. Is what I keep on seeing in saying to another. I keep on hearing it's building the resolve that they're feeling and saying, If, because, and this is what they're saying to one another, and this is what feels so difficult. They're saying, if I had been there, you never would have had to go through that. That's what I keep on hearing. Like, that's why they feel so upset, because they're like, it's the feeling of them saying, if I had been there, that never would have energetically happened. Continuing to get clarification for these, for the magician relationships, moving deep into divine union, clarification between our Four of Cups in its reversal and the High Priestess in its upright. The Five of Wands in its upright. So what are we seeing right now? The Five of Wands, we have a lot of five. Yeah, I'm not surprised to see it. We have a lot of five energy on the table today. But I like where the five energy is placed, because I keep on hearing it's working. I keep on hearing it's working through the energetic. It's working through the energetic volatility of things into a feeling of energetic steadfastness, is what I keep on seeing. I keep on hearing and this is what I mean about the energy right now moving deep within divine union. Because I keep on hearing the same thing. They're going through a pseudo Saturn return, right? Because it's not necessarily, here's the thing, it's not necessarily the fact that the energy is going through a Saturn return, but Saturn dipping back into Pisces at the time of this energy moving deep into divine union can feel very similar to a Saturn return. And what happens during a Saturn return? We go through a maturation process. It's an auric cleansing, and the space by which we heal our relationship to time. This is why I keep on seeing, and it's funny because what is the energy saying? If they're seeing something silly outside of partnership, they're saying, I don't have time for this. Right? It's like the energy basically saying, I don't have time for this. It's the energy that's like, and that's the thing about it. That is them prioritizing their peace, right? When you're prioritizing their peace and their silliness outside of partnership, and you say, I don't have time for this, it's working through something that, again, and identify is not something that you can resolve, that is not the responsibility of the self to resolve, that's the responsibility of another person to heal from. And that's why I keep on seeing that the energy, it's like they're working through the feelings about it, but they're not working through the feelings of wanting to do something in the present about it. It's the fact that it's reordering the way that they perceive something as it relates to past experience, particularly in relationality or connection to a person. So that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy doing that work, it's like I keep on hearing better, not bitter, right? I told you, like the Scorpio, better, not bitter, right? Like working through, like trying to release bitterness by allowing oneself to be able not to, like, I keep on hearing not wanting to hold on to something that hurts, because I keep on hearing it doesn't feel like it's supportive to the self. Continuing to get clarification between our High Priestess in its upright in combination with our Five of Swords in its reversal. Two cards coming out. Whoa! Holy moly. Wow. We've got here the Knight of Wands in its upright in combination with the Ace of Wands in its upright. Wow. Ace of Wands in its upright in combination with our Knight of Wands in its upright. So let's talk a little bit about that energy here, because what we're effectively seeing with the Ace of Wands in its upright in combination with the Knight of Wands in its upright has to do, I keep on saying it has to do with the identification point of, I keep on hearing, it has to do with the identification point of and this is man, these are those new relationships. This is all the energy in separation right now. And I feel like what's beautiful about that is I keep on seeing what's beautiful about that to a certain extent has to do with, how do I describe this best? There's something important that in separation that has to do with the manifestation goal, right? Because everything I keep on seeing in relationality to the working through the manifestation goal has to do with, and I need to point this out. It's not, I keep wondering, it's not enough to have an energetic manifestation goal, but one moving in, I keep wondering, one moving in accordance to it is by which the space by which you're able to do something effectively. And so I keep on hearing there's a lot of healthy centering that is happening right now. And this is what I mean about all of the energy and separation maybe going through something, but all working through the same path work. There's healthy centering, which is, I keep on hearing, like, this is the healthy cynicism, right? The healthy cynicism that allows one to be able to have hope for something, but not letting another, like, but not allowing that hope to distort perception, right? So there's healthy cynicism. Now, the space by which we identify and recognize that, what we're effectively seeing, has to do with effectively, and so we're going to kind of go through it. For the energy that's working through restoration here, that's what I mean in terms of someone saying, you've given me a lot to think about. Because the gift that they're giving each other, I keep on hearing, it's not the gift. It's not somebody, I need to point this out. These are not apologies where someone's trying to fix something. These are apologies where someone is trying to say something that we went through was not a waste. That's what's so beautiful about it. It's the space by which another person almost articulates the space by which another saying, like, this is the energetic space by which it feels positive, or it feels energetically reaffirming, right? There's something really, it's almost like, it's like somebody is receiving the gift of learning, is what I keep on saying. It's like somebody being like, it's the observation of another being able to identify and recognize what that learning is, right? And so I keep on hearing, like, that is like, it feels very positive. Now, for the energy that is building into sealed separation, that's what I keep on hearing, that seals it, right? Because at the same time that that's happening, we see a lot of energy working through something, right? Building into the context of knowing. I keep on hearing, like, there's some energy here that knows, like, they know what another person would have to bring towards them in order to resolve something. And energy coming towards them, not in the space, I keep on hearing, not in the space of wanting to have a healthy conversation, but trying to serve the passion, right? And what does it look like when someone's trying to serve the passion? Right? Are you gonna let those pesky emotions stand in the way of passion? And this is the energy holding on to the manifestation that says, when we're working towards our manifestations, we can have both. Right? It's like, this is the energy that says that healthy passion does not come at the cost of direction. That's the space by which we can understand someone that holds our standards, which is the space by which we say you can have passion and standards. They can move in accordance with one another so long as we energetically communicate them. So that's why we keep on seeing, like, I keep on hearing a lot of the energy feeling very fortified in that space, even as they're like, even I keep on hearing, like, even as they're working through that, like, and so I keep on hearing the energy being, somebody being like, are you done being emotional? And someone being like, there was never emotion you were seeing there, right? Now, for the energy that is deep within divine, and for these new, and do you see what keeps happening? You see what keeps happening? Do you see what keeps happening? These new relationships, and I need to stress this, every time I say these new relationships, I accidentally say these relationships that are deep within union, because it is the observation that we're effectively identifying, or we're working towards to a certain extent. I keep seeing, like, the space by which they're working through something to a certain extent is the articulation point of what we're effectively seeing in terms of the fact that the energy is, like, I keep on hearing, they're holding a little bit of this healthy cynicism towards each other. Right? They're hearing the right things. It feels like they're hearing the things that are right. And now they're moving towards the history to see, like, to see if what another articulates, it feels in accordance with what it is that they've gone through. So that's what we keep on seeing is happening there. And so I feel like there's something very smooth that's happening, because it feels like, I feel like there's, like, they're checking the harmony of, they're checking the harmony of the manifestation goal with the history. Thank you. Clarification between our five of, is the manifestation goal harmonious with the history? We're continuing to get clarification between our Five of Swords and its reversal in combination with the Ten of Swords and its upright. Woo! Double tens. Double tens. We like it. We like a double 10. But I got to tell you, this is what I mean in relationality. But like, this is that double 10 energy. I told you the energy, the temperance relationships are going through a solar plexus expansion. And the reason that we keep on seeing that they're going through a solar plexus expansion is because the relationship has gravitas. They're sharing each other's trauma. And I keep on seeing that they're working. And this is what's beautiful. Like, this is what's so complicated, because they're going through Neptune lessons, right? And what's a Neptune lesson? Put it back. Put it back. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Why are they going? You don't touch Neptune's stuff, okay? Why are they going through Neptune's lessons? Because when the energy is going deeper into talking about something that occurred in the past that caused pain to another, they're feeling that pain in real time. They're feeling the volatility of feeling pain in real time for something that's already happened. They want to do something about it. They can't, because once you do something about something from the past, it's no longer the past anymore. It's the present. So the energy's going. So what are they doing? They're processing. They're processing, they're expanding, they're processing, they're expanding, right? So it's like, it's heavy stuff, but I keep on hearing it's heavy stuff, but it's allowing the space by which they feel energetically stabilized within it, right? It's frustrating. It's really frustrating. They're like present. They're grounding in the present. They're saying that the way that we heal that is by making sure, and I keep on hearing the space by which they're saying to each other, and what is their anchoring statement. You're never going to have to go through that again. And the reason, and this is wild about it, the reason they're saying you're never going to have to go through that again is the energy that is saying that both to themselves by stopping themselves from opening up a trauma from the past and making another person have to go through it again, is what I keep on seeing. Continuing to get clarification between our Five of Wands and its reversal in combination with our Ace of Wands and our Knight of Wands and its upright. Can I get one card to clarify, please? We've got here the Eight of Swords in its reversal. So what are we effectively seeing with the Eight of Swords in its reversal? So for a lot of the Eight of Swords in its reversal, effectively speaks to us. The Eight of Swords in its reversal effectively speaks to us about, how do I describe this best? It speaks to us about, it speaks to us about how do I describe this? It speaks to us about what it is that we're trying to, and this has to do with the energy deep within divine union, because for the energy deep within divine union, I keep on seeing the same circumstance or situation, which is like, if there's I keep on hearing, like, if there's a situation wherein they're feeling centered and steadfast in partnership, and somebody outside of partnership is suddenly acting weird, I keep on hearing like that's the energy that's articulating to one another and saying that's a them problem, right? Like they're almost like, I keep on seeing it's the observation. It's the energy that understands entirely that someone might potentially be deep in their ego about seeing someone becoming energetically steadfast. But that's why I keep on seeing they're saying that's a them problem, hate to see it, because the ability to see that and then feel, like I keep on hearing the ability to see that and then feel the feelings of seeing someone deep in their feels about someone becoming steadfast, completely changing the history, completely changing their perception of history in relationality to an energetic connection. And that's why I keep on seeing it's painful, because it's the energy kind of going through an auric cleansing in relationality to like what feels energetically supportive versus what it is that they're healing from. So I keep on seeing that there's some, I keep on hearing their work, they're supporting each other even though they're heartbroken and struck dumb, right? Because the reason I keep on hearing that they're saying they're heartbroken and struck dumb is because I keep on hearing the energy say, why wouldn't you want to see us steadfast? Why wouldn't you want to see us supported? So that's why we keep on seeing that there may be a moment right now where there may be some energy that's deep within divine union, letting go of energetic relationships that don't feel like they're energetically supportive of them being steadfast. And so I feel like there's a lot of that energy that, like, I keep on hearing they're happy, but it's happy, they're happy, but also they're like recalibrating, and they're letting go of something in a very profound way. That's, like I told you, there's that maturation process. Continuing to get clarification between our Ace of Wands, the Knight of Wands in its upright, and the Ten of Pentacles in its upright. We've got here the World card in its reversal. So the World card in its reversal, you know, and this is bringing us back to the energy that's in separation. The energy in separation right now, like I keep on seeing, and I need to describe this right now. Like, this is what I mean about this energy. It's weird energy right now. If you're feeling like it's weird, it's because it is. Whenever we got a lot of planets in Scorpio, things feel weird, you know? And I need to say, like, the ability of not projecting that weirdness is always really important, because, like, I keep on seeing that, and I keep on describing this, and this is what we're effectively seeing to a certain extent in relationality to some of this energy and separation. You know, a healthy relationship does not require investigation, right? Healthy relationship does not require us to put on a hard hat and delve into something to try to figure out what's going on with one another. We effectively, it's like the space by which we articulate upon things and we speak about them helps us to effectively navigate. And that's why when we're worked, and like that's why we also do the work of the self, to understand our feelings, to be able to communicate to others. So that's why often when we're working through those spaces, and another person, I keep on hearing, like, when another person gets energetically reticent, when another person, like I keep on hearing, like, when another person hermits up, it's not our responsibility to go banging on the door of the self to try to investigate, like, what is effectively occurring. It's the space by which we effectively identify and articulate, and we allow for the opportunity to be able to express and expound upon things, and then we go on. And this is often something that you often see when someone's too deep in their ego, right? The space by which another person, this is often what we identify as a lack of a boundary issue, right? The space by which another person says, leave me alone, where are you, right? The space by which we communicate a need and then we're expecting another person to supersede the need. This is often indicative of egoic journeys, because it's not being energetically respective of the position that puts others in. And and the reason I feel like it's interesting that is what's coming up for the energy and separation. And I keep on hearing, like, that is the energy. And it's interesting too, because with all of the energy in Scorpio, like, that we have right now, I can almost hear the energy saying that it's the space by which I keep on hearing the mystique about a relationship should have to be in what to expect going forward, not in what the heck is happening, is what I keep on hearing. The mystique, that's what we got. That's what we get with, like, Mars and, like, that's what we get with, like, Mars and Mercury and Scorpio together. Like, that's a conversation they have. The mystique in a relationship should be in what is in where it could go, not in what the heck is happening. It's like I keep on seeing. It shouldn't be having to have to figure out like what is happening. It should just be in the energetic direction in terms of where something is heading. And I keep on seeing this right now because I keep on hearing that, like, and that's the thing about it, like, because I keep on hearing some things are just weird, right? And like that's the thing about it. Like you can often feel like when someone's being weird and they're too much in their ego, there's no reason for it, right? It becomes it's like the ubiquitous weirdness where there isn't really any kind of logic behind it. It's just delving into more and more weirdness. And so that's why we talk about doing our shadow work effectively. It's okay to be weird, but you got to understand your weirdness. You got to understand. You just got to understand your weirdness, because when you understand you're weird, it becomes a delight to those around you. But when you don't understand you're weird, it becomes really, really difficult for those around you. And so I feel like that's what we're effectively seeing. They're like, I literally hear the energy in, like, I keep on seeing like the energy in separation being like, how well do you know you're weird? Like, have you made friends with your weirdness? Have you made friends with your weirdness lately? Have you given your weirdness a hug? Can you articulate upon your weirdness? Because when we don't do the work of understanding our weirdness, we make it weird for everybody else around us. Okay. But final card for today's spread, between our eight of swords in its reversal in combination with our world card in its reversal. Yeah, the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles of in its reversal, which is it's a space by which we understand that when we care about ourselves, we care about our weird too, right? It's okay. It's the space by which, and here's the funny, and I love this. This is my joke with Scorpio energy, and this is like the journey of the Scorpio that's healed versus not healed. You meet a Scorpio, and a Scorpio's got their hand like wrapped up and tightened up in something, and they're like, nobody can see this. Nobody can see this, and being like, oh my God, what's in your hand? I'm like, nobody can look at what's in my hand. What's in your hand? And nothing's in my hand. Be like, I feel like something's in your hand. No, nothing's in my hand. And then you open the Scorpio's hand, and there's nothing in their hand. And the Scorpio's like, I told you. And be like, why did you do that? It's like, why would you do that? And it's a space by which, it's understand. And this is like, but here's the thing: a Scorpio, when a Scorpio is here, they'll be like, they'll do that in a fun way. Like Scorpios will delight in that. They'll delight in the fact of adding an air of mystique to things. But when Scorpios aren't healed, they often make a big deal out of something that everybody knows, right? They're like, I must keep this a secret, and being like, yeah, they've been keeping that secret for like literally 30 years. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, oh no, we just let them have the secret. I know. It's like, I am being very secretive, and everyone's like, no, but everybody can see. Like, what are you talking? It's like a lot of that kind of thing, right? And so this is what happens, right? We come into the space by which we embrace and we recognize and we understand and we find the energy. And here's the thing about it too: we don't arbitrate on what that point is for each other. It is none of our business how another person navigates their business until it becomes our business, when they make our business complicated by not navigating it. And this is often what happens in relationality to doing the work of the self, because trauma builds triggers in weird places. So when we're able to effectively identify, when we're able to effectively work through things, it allows, right? I keep on saying it's beautiful, because it is the difference, like what becomes beautiful in those moments. And this is what happens with scorpionic journeys, the weirdness that becomes mystique, right? The ability to understand and articulate upon something that one is continuing to learn about or continuing to build into, but that one is very free to effectively articulate upon. Right? And so there's something about this energy, and that's the problem with this energy, because for some of the energy right now going through this, it could feel like mystique, right? It could feel like there's a little bit of this, like, I keep on hearing, if you're doing your shadow work effectively, it could feel like there's a little bit of like weirdness in the air. But when you're not doing your shadow work effectively, you're like, it can project outwards and be like, why is everything weird, right? So make sure that you're doing the work to understand the self. Remember, there's no better gift that you can give in partnership than by taking ownership upon the things that you're weird about. We're all weird about things. But that's the thing about it. What's beautiful is like when we take ownership about the fact that we're weird about things, then it becomes something that allows us to be able to heal better, right? And so there's something important about that I feel like we need, like, as we're navigating through that cycle. And I know that this energy is complicated, but that's a message that moves across all the frequencies. Bottom of the deck, yeah, 10 of wands in its reversal. Usually you can tell when you're not doing this effectively because you think that changing something is going to change you. This is what we talk about with manifestation goals. If you're not happy with yourself, I hate to break this to you, there's nowhere you can go that you're not going to be unhappy. That unhappiness, you can't look towards a manifestation goal and say, as long as I go here, if I get this, I'll be happy. Right? If I do this, I'll be happy. The understanding of a manifestation goal is not the space by which we say, oh, I know if I ascertain or I experience this, I will find joy. And it's not to say that certain situations don't increase our quota of happiness, but the journey of finding joy is one that we find within, not without. And often this is the problem, because if we don't do that work, then we move towards our manifestation goals, and then we're miserable there, right? It's like everywhere you go, there you are. So I want you to kind of think about that as you're navigating energy like this. Not just enough to have a manifestation goal, but to be able to articulate upon the purpose of that manifestation goal, right? Because manifestation goals should be navigated with a sense of purpose, because the purpose is where we find joy. So if you're feeling like this energy is more heavy right now, let that kind of help anchor you through it. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you'd like to book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox, tell you have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site. So I would encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who attended our recent class on the star card. Our next class will be held on Wednesday, October 15th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the moon card. We'll be studying the history of the card, the symbology, spread applications, and if you'd like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack your paid subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions they may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the whole year's worth of readings, you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me. You also have full access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library archive, which is access to over 19 hours worth of material in an ever-expanding library. You will also have access to, if you choose to receive one, a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your impact moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also be notified as to my Mystic Meditation articles, which give you updates on what we've been seeing energetically. I just wrote one recently on this full moon in Aries. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also for my students seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to offer dream interpretation readings now, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase the series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again tomorrow.